Alright, I'm going to start this video by giving a shout out to Lucky Luke Rides, and I'll put a link right on the top here. Told him that I'd go around and look at some castles and things around where I live, but there is a castle, but it's kind of hard to fly there. It's in some no-fly zones and in the middle of the city, so it's not even really like a cool castle. It was built more recently. I guess it was built for the Red Baron, so not that recent, World War I time period. Anyway, so I went out to this memorial that is out in northwest Arvada, and it's called Cold War Horse, and I'll read through what's written on the memorial rock, and bear with me as I read it. I'm going to try to not stumble on the words. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy it. Kind of a melancholy thing to think about, but I just thought it was neat. This horse, full-size, horse-size, in a red hazmat suit on the side of the highway. I thought it was kind of cool. So here's what it has to say. Cold War Horse. This memorial was created to acknowledge the history of Rocky Flats, its workers, and the surrounding community. Rocky Flats was a nuclear weapons production facility that had a huge influence during the Cold War. For nearly 40 years, the plant manufactured the plutonium triggers of nearly every nuclear weapon in the United States arsenal. It's estimated that 70,000 plutonium triggers were produced at this plant. Plutonium is a highly toxic and radioactive substance, and special precautions had to be taken. Routine operations and accidents contaminated the soil, water, and air in surrounding areas with radioactive and toxic material. After a second major plutonium fire in 1969, the second largest plutonium fire at the facility, citizen protests gained momentum and urged Rocky Flats to cease operations in 1989. The FBI, in conjunction with the EPA, raided the complex, and the first ever intergovernmental raid. Many violations were discovered, and production was halted. The plant's operators later admitted and pleaded guilty to environmental crimes. Soon after the raid, the plant site was put on the EPA's Superfund cleanup list. In 1993, the Secretary of Energy announced the end of the Rocky Flats nuclear production mission. The original estimate for remediation of the site was in excess of $37 billion with a B dollars, and projected to require 70 years for completion. The Department of Energy in Kaiser Hill devised an accelerated compromise plan that cut costs to $7 billion and just 1 decade for completion. On the dedication of this memorial 10 years after the cleanup of Rocky Flats, safety concerns still exist due to remaining contamination and questions of risk. Nonetheless, the history of this important national and international site, and the workers who sacrificed so much, have yet to be acknowledged by federal, state, or local governments. This memorial stands as a reminder of a history that we must not forget. For links to more information on Rocky Flats history, present concerns, and more, please visit rockyflatsnuclearguardianship.org. The sculpture Cold War Horse by artist Jeff Gipe is in its home near Rocky Flats in northwest Arvada. Jeff Gipe grew up in Arvada, 4 miles from the weapons plant. His father worked at the plant for 20 years. In creating the memorial, Jeff wanted to see a symbol that acknowledges the workers' sacrifices and informs nearby residents about the history and present concerns of Rocky Flats.